then in 2019, I just, I remember it was spring and I just said, let me just do something for myself. I tell people I love being a mom more than anything. I enjoy being a wife, but I think I just needed something to do just for me. So I decided to say, let's see what this running outdoors thing is really all about. I don't think I got very far. I went outside, I ran, but that runner's high, it was amazing. And I thought, I see why people enjoy this.
You are listening to the No Gimmicks, Just Sweat podcast with your host, Eric Logan. No Gimmicks, Just Sweat is dedicated to hearing the journeys and unique stories behind an athlete's training and what drives them. Get inspired to own your life and make the impossible possible. If you enjoy the show, please subscribe so that you never miss an episode. Also, please take a few seconds to rate the show and drop me a review. Now, let's get started with the show.
Hello and welcome to this episode of No Gimmicks, Just Sweat. And today we welcome Raina Duckworth to the show. Raina, how are you doing?
I am doing good. Thank you for having me on the show. How are you doing today?
I am wonderful, wonderful. And as always, thank you for being a guest.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. So, first time on the show, first time on the podcast, huh?
Yes,
Are you nervous?
yes,
Are
yes,
you
yes.
nervous?
I am nervous. I'm just a little nervous.
You'll be fine. You'll be fine. So we're gonna ease it up a little bit. So we kind of start with some icebreakers. So
Okay.
this is a way for, even though I follow you online and we've met at a race before,
Yeah.
this is kind of a way to, let the listeners to get to know you a little bit better. And I generally find out something new about, everybody I talk to that I didn't know. So this is your opportunity.
Okay.
Okay. So are you a person who likes morning runs or evening runs?
Definitely mornings. I'm a morning person.
Okay. Solo runs or group runs?
Solo runs, with the exception of, I guess my husband. I will run with him, but overall, I prefer to run by myself.
Okay. Run on the treadmill or run outside?
Outside. When I first started, I did run on the treadmill, but since I've started running outside, I definitely prefer outside. But in the case of bad weather, I will hop on the treadmill.
Okay. Coffee or tea?
Tea. I love tea. That's my daily habit. I actually don't drink coffee. I wish I liked coffee though.
Oh, see, there you go. See, that's something right there we connect. I'm a tea person too.
Oh, good,
I
good.
am a tea person.
There
I
are
might,
not that many of us.
yeah, oh no, I might drink one cup of coffee a year, and
Okay,
it's generally because tea's not available.
exactly.
All right, trail runs or road runs?
Road runs, but I could see myself as a trail runner, but road runs for now.
Okay. Your favorite race distance to run?
I am going to go with the half marathon.
Okay. Cool.
Yes, it's it's not as long as a full marathon, and I do enjoy the challenge of the distance. So yeah, half marathon.
Okay. The first thing you do after a race?
Usually, I hug my husband and then I ask him, where are we going to eat? Yes.
Go to meal or food for after a race?
No, definitely some type of big breakfast. I love to eat, so, but no, I kind of change it up. So just depends on my mood that day.
Okay. All right. What is your dream race to run?
The New York City Marathon.
Okay. All right. If you can go on a run with any celebrity or athlete, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
Michelle Obama. I find her fascinating. I know she's into fitness, so I think a run with her would be great.
Okay. All right. Last one. Dream location anywhere in the world you would want to go for a run.
Ooh, I would love to go back to Hawaii, and I think it would just be amazing to run in Hawaii.
Okay, that's my dream location to run to. You know, I think it was the Honolulu Marathon they have that is pretty much you
Oh,
got the
yes.
whole you pretty much have the entire day because they want you to just enjoy being there.
I could see that. Yes, definitely.
Because if I'm correct, I don't think there's a time limit to it. It's like, yeah, just run.
Oh,
But
really?
I don't think so. Don't quote me on that. But I think it's either
Okay.
if it's either no time limit or it's like a crazy long time limit.
Okay. Okay.
But it's more for yeah, they just want you to enjoy the scenery.
Okay. Just enjoy it.
Right. And that's the perfect place to enjoy.
It would be, definitely. It's beautiful there. So, yeah.
Okay. So, Raina, this is the time where you will share your story. And I always tell
Okay.
people that, think of it as you're telling people your origin story, as if you're a superhero and this is your origin story of how you became, the superhero that you are.
Okay. So I would say I started running. I would say I became a consistent runner in 2019, but my first 5K was actually back in 2013. My sister, I think she had some coworkers at the time that were doing a race, and she asked me if I wanted to join in. I was newly divorced. I wanted something, just to do when the kids were with their dad. And I thought, hey, why not? It's one of those color runs. I didn't train for it. I just got out there. I don't think I ran probably any of it. I probably just walked around, took pictures, let them throw the color on you. And I loved it. I had so much fun. My sister, that was her first and her last race. So I always think it's funny that she kind of brought me into, I guess, running races, and then she doesn't enjoy them at all. So I did that. But I guess from that point on, I would probably do like a race here and there, but they were always like the fun runs, the ones where they throw, color on you, or, like an ugly sweater run. The themed runs, nothing serious, no serious runs. And then in 2019, I just, I remember it was spring, and I just say, let me just do something for myself. I tell people I love being a mom more than anything. I enjoy being a wife, but I think I just needed something to do just for me. So I decided to say, let's see what this running outdoors thing is really all about. I don't think I got very far. I went outside, I ran, but that runner's high, it was amazing. And I thought, I see why people enjoy this. And so I just kept doing it. And that was 2019. I decided, I live in Atlanta. If you live in Atlanta, you should do the Peachtree Road Race at least once.
Right. Right.
And, I would see people with their t-shirts every 4th of July. And I thought, I'd always say, oh, one year I'm going to do that. So that year I decided I wanted to do it. I joined Atlanta Track Club, signed up for the Peachtree Road Race. It's the first race that I ever trained for. And I remember, 6.2 miles. I remember the first time I ran 5 miles, and I was like miserable and, didn't think I could do it. But then I ran the race and I had so much fun. And pretty much I've been consistent ever since. That same year, 2019, is also when I did my first half marathon in Savannah, the rock and roll half marathon. And I mean, it's just been it's become a part of me. It's just that thing that I do. It's something I do for my mental health. It's kind of how I, work out problems. I may start a run with something heavy on my mind. By the end of the run, I have worked it out. I've decided what I'm going to do. It's just, it's like kind of like working a puzzle, while I run. And it's just it helps me. It's definitely it's just added a lot to my life. I've met some great friends, met some great people, and so I'm just having fun with it.
Okay. Yeah. So you started running in 2019.
Hmm.
Were you ever an athlete or into sports anything when you were younger or in high school?
So that's kind of funny because yes, but I was never very good. I ran track in high school briefly. If you blinked, you missed it. That's how brief it was. I did like the 200 and I think the 4x4. But it didn't really stick. I was a cheerleader briefly. I was the worst cheerleader probably in the history of cheerleaders. They gave me the most improved award because there was nowhere else to go but up. So I was most improved. So I wasn't very good at that. And it just, I wouldn't say I've ever been all that athletic. But, I guess, I don't know. I mean, I think that's why this running has been so good for me because it's something I didn't think I was, very good at
Okay.
previously.
And well, I hear that from a lot of people that, well, a lot of people, you hear sometimes when you see people that are runners, like, yeah, they're runners, and when you kind of go into their backstory, you might see that they were athletes, in
Hmm.
high school or college, but a lot of the times that's not the case. I tell people
Hmm.
I was never athlete in high school. I
Really?
I tell people I was the person that was last picked in PE.
Me too. Me too. Definitely. No one wanted me on their team.
Right. And even now, people that my family members and friends that I grew up with, when they see me just running and races and cycling, they're like, "Yeah, you're either a late bloomer or something." They say because that wasn't you back in the day.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine you not being picked because you seem like you win all the races
Oh
now.
no,
So,
oh no. I was very small when I was younger. And yeah, I was
okay.
the last pick. I was the least athletic person, in school.
Okay. Okay. And that's
And
probably that was probably me.
even though like we might have pickup games of basketball and stuff, nobody passed the ball to me.
Okay. That's funny. That is funny. Yeah. That was me. I mean, no one wanted me on their team. I probably was a little bit prissy back then. It was like I hated PE. It's like, why do we have to be out here? I don't like the sweat. Yeah, I don't want to get dirty. All of those things. So I've changed quite a bit.
Right. And again, it's usually the people who were not athletes or may not like running are the ones who love running as an adult.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's why I always tell people, I mean, if I can do it, you can do it. Because if someone said, one day you'll run a marathon, I would have thought that would have been, I would have laughed. But now, I really enjoy running.
Okay. So as you kind of get more and more into running, again, 2019, you're a newbie. You're still a baby.
I am. I'm
So
still learning the lingo with so many things. I'm still learning all the running lingo. So,
I bet you are. So as you're, you know, 19 to now, let's talk
hmm
about how a week of training looks for you. You
okay.
know, what is your how do you train and prepare for races? What do you do regularly? Are you do you get a run every day? Do you go to the gym? What do you do to kind of keep you going?
Okay. I would say right now I'm in the middle of marathon training. I do 4 runs a week, 3 during the week, and 1 long one on the weekend. Um, I did do one streak. I think it was like Runner's World. I think from Memorial Day to Fourth of July. I think it's like 40 days. So I'm definitely
Mhm.
not a daily runner. I don't think I can keep up with that, but I admire those that do. But I would say I think 3 or 4 days a week is probably good for me. I'm working on strength training. That's that's my weak
Yes,
spot.
yes, yes.
Uh,
Training. Yes.
with a lot of runners, I know that's the case. So, but I'm getting more consistent. I'm now doing at least 2 days a week. So,
Okay. Okay. And are you self training or are you working with like a trainer or coach?
for running, no. For the strength training, I do the home remedy. Um, and that's actually I met Jen online on Instagram, and that has really helped me with doing strength training because prior to that, I would fall off. I'd do like, one good week, and then I would pick it back up in like 2 months, and now I've been pretty consistent with my 2 days a week. So,
Okay. Okay. So you started in 2019. So you had that good. Was it a full year, half year when you
I
started?
started probably like spring. Yeah,
Okay.
probably spring of 2019.
Okay. So you started in 2019, spring 2019. You got to running. The bug caught you. You started running. Let's
Yes,
enter 2020. You started
yes,
running. Then pandemic happened.
yes.
How did that affect you in any way as far as, that drive and motivation in regards to running?
No, I think if anything, I probably did more running because it was it was like, everything shut down in 2020. And so it was
Right.
like it really felt like the only thing I had. I mean, outside of my family, I mean, you couldn't go anywhere. You couldn't go to the movies, couldn't, go out to eat at one point. So running was really my saving grace. I mean, it's what kept me sane. I was sad that we couldn't do any races initially. But outside of that, no, running, I mean, it kept me going. It got me through 2020.
Okay. Good. Yeah, and that's the thing. It did me as well. I couldn't go to the gym anymore, but I could get out and run.
Right.
I can get,
Exactly.
I can get out and run. I can get out and ride my bike. So that kept me going.
Exactly.
All right. So how do you, as far as from a food and nutrition perspective,
Hmm.
have you made any changes since you started running that helped you improve as a runner, or did you realize there's stuff like, yeah, trial and error, you're learning what to eat, what not to eat, and so forth.
Yeah, I'm still working out the kinks on that. I would say I probably have an ironclad stomach. There's not a lot that really upsets my stomach. I do know that some runners can't take like certain goos and gels.
that, that that's
I
me.
haven't had that issue. That's you? Okay.
Yeah, that's me.
Okay. So that I have not experienced. I've been very fortunate. I have had to learn, like, okay, when I first started running, I didn't carry any water. So I remember when I was training for the Peachtree in the middle of the summer, I was out there with no water, and that didn't go well. So I'm learning, what I need. I mean, I do a lot of reading and researching, and I'm learning as I go. But I do, now I do. I just this last long run, I switched over to the Mortons. I do
Okay.
like those. Before I was using the Goos for my long run, but now I like those. I'm just getting used to the consistency, the texture of it. But I think for the most part, I think once you learn like what you need to do, like for your long runs, you do have to have something. You can't just go out there and just run and run and run. I think that's made a huge difference. And I did for the marathon, I did consult with a dietitian. That was, definitely helpful.
Okay.
Um, yeah.
Okay. So let's change it up a little bit. I think
Okay.
if I remember correctly, the first time we met in person was at a duathlon.
Yes.
Yes.
Callaway Gardens.
Yes. So let's talk about the duathlon. So
Okay.
what piqued your interest into that?
Honestly, I mean, watching your IG, I mean, that definitely, I mean, it just seemed like fun, I grew up in the 80s, so all we did was ride bikes back then. So
Thank you. Exactly.
so I mean, I will admit I did not train for it. I don't even own a bike right now, but I rented a bike. I love Callaway Gardens. But just I mean, like when I would read, your posts, it just seemed like fun. So I said, hey, let me try it. Let me see, what this is about. I definitely would do it again. I would say next time I need to train because there you feel it's a weird sensation once you jump off, a bike and try to run. I didn't
Yes.
realize that my legs would just feel like jello afterwards. So but yeah, I mean that's what really I mean, that's why you never know who you're inspiring because just watching you inspired me to want to try, a duathlon. So I
Oh,
enjoyed it. I really did. So
and please do it again.
I
And
will.
I
I
tell
definitely
people,
will.
the experience with it is great. Yeah, duathlons don't get the same level of, exposure or popularity. Triathlons. I was like, but
Hmm.
it's just as challenging.
Oh yes, definitely, definitely. I mean, to
And
try to keep up with both sports and just, yes, definitely challenging.
all right, so outside of duathlons, is there anything else you just that you might have seen that might have piqued your interest? Like, oh, I want to try
Gosh, there's so much.
that.
I would like to try a triathlon at some point.
Okay,
The thing that probably that keeps me out of that I think maybe a lot of people shy away from with triathlons is the swimming portion.
right.
For me, I am a new swimmer. I just learned within the last couple of years how to swim. So and I only know how to do the freestyle. I haven't conquered the breaststroke yet. Um, so that would be something that I would want to do at some point in the future. I think I'd like to try one ultra marathon just to say I did it. I don't think that's something I would want to continue with, but just
Right.
to say I did it. I know I'd like to do my husband and I both like to do kayaking.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's something, that I also enjoy, that I would like to, try a little bit more of, maybe doing like a longer kayaking excursion.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Well, kayaking is one of those things that I'm going to say you don't see many blacks doing it.
No, you don't.
So what kind of drew you to that?
It's funny. It's just like one of those things. I think here lately I've just wanted to try things. It's like, I see people, it looks, I love nature. So I just want to get out and, try things. And it just looked like fun. I mean, a lot of times it's very peaceful. There aren't a lot of, sometimes there's not very many other people around.
Right.
You can hear the birds chirp. I mean, it's fun. It can be kind of relaxing too, depending on where you do it. But if you're going upstream, downstream, that matters, of course, because you may be working more. Or you may, maybe a relaxing paddle. But yeah, you don't see very many black people. Same, also with my husband and I like to do we've done it 2 summers in a row, the Appalachian Trail, that
Yes.
you also don't see very many, black people doing that either. But that's a lot of fun. And I encourage more people to try, to get out and do hiking and, and try parts of the Appalachian Trail.
Well, like I know with me and my wife, as far as water, she's like, I can't swim. I'm like, you don't worry about swimming unless you fall over. I'm like, you
Right.
don't have to worry about
Yes.
swimming. You stay in the boat, you don't have to worry about swimming. You're fine
That
with that.
is a fear, though. I mean, a lot of people do have, and that was my initial thing, and that's why I did decide to take swimming lessons because I was afraid. I admit that even with the life vest on, I felt afraid. So my biggest, that's what really that was my motivation for taking swimming lessons because I realized I did want to do like, stand up paddleboarding and kayaking and and then everyone, all the kids are great swimmers. My husband can swim. It's just, so I realized, I need to learn to swim as well. So I do get the fear of not, but yeah, I mean, you do keep your life. I don't want to fall out. I don't feel like I'm a great swimmer. So I would say definitely put that life vest on.
Right. And then as far as like trail running and just hiking and stuff, yeah, I get. Yeah, she is like yeah, because a lot of times when I tell her like yeah I'm going for a trail run, she's like okay, and she kind of keeps me on a timer then because she's like I know how long you're gonna be. If you're too long, she starts calling you okay. She's I'm trying to make,
Yes,
she's
that's
like trying to make sure a bear doesn't get you. I'm like not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere remote that a bear is gonna get me.
That's a good wife. She's just making sure that you are safe. And that is a concern sometimes, I guess with trails, you do have to be careful. I do think about that sometimes, like the
Yeah,
cell reception, if you fall, if
right.
so that's definitely a concern.
Right. And I got into trail running really more last year, and I kind of hate this year. I really didn't do it as much, and that's one of the things that next year that I'm really going to try to push to kind of get back into it a little bit more, uh,
Okay.
because it to me it's just more peaceful.
It is.
You know,
It is.
you're running in a trail. You know, it's that pure fresh air. You know, no
Exactly.
cars, no things. You know, it's just you out on an open trail.
Exactly. Where do you do your trail running?
I'll go to Columbus sometime and run some of the
Okay.
trails there. And I usually try to stay in, for safety purposes, try to stay in,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the state parks and stuff. So I go to Pine Mountain.
Okay.
I'll run there, a lot, and it's a lot of the local state parks and stuff.
Okay. And I'll be honest, that is probably my only thing with the trail running. Like I know a lot of people that do the trail runs and I'm like more power to them. I think I do worry about the safety aspect.
Right.
That's probably the only thing that kind of keeps me from not doing the trail runs. It's just, safety, safety, safety. So, but I'm sure, people have their ways of staying, safe, but I just don't feel comfortable yet with doing the trail runs.
Right. And again, that's why I kind of stay in the areas I know,
Hmm.
and that way, if something happens, again, like I said, let my wife know where I'm at and what trail I'm on, how long I've
Hmm.
and stuff. That kind of gives that sit that eat that's the sense of ease. Kind of peace of mind that for her, and it's also a peace of mind for me as well.
Exactly. Exactly. I mean, even with regular running, I like to let everyone know, like, let my husband know. Well, usually he runs with me, but when he's not running with me, I let my mom, my daughter know, hey, I'm going out for a run. So, check on me.
Yeah.
So I don't come back after a certain amount of time.
Right. And and I use Road ID. Road ID has an app you
Yes,
can
it
connect, and
does.
that's what she'll pick up. If I've been gone for so long, she'll log in, look at the app, and try to see where I'm at and stuff. As long as I'm moving,
Yes,
she's like,
yes.
okay,
That's a great app because I think too, if you stand still for too long, it also sends an alert. So, yeah,
yes, yes, yeah. All right, and you also said something about you want to do an ultra marathon as well.
yes, at some point, maybe one, maybe just one, because I can't
Which
even
this
imagine right now going past 26.2 miles. I mean, that's enough. So, I think isn't it considered an ultra? I think if you go like 30 miles, is it just 30? I don't think you have to
yes
go that
that
much over the 26.2. Okay,
yeah.
so
So
yeah,
I think that's why I was going to ask you which distance ultra. So I think like a 50K is like that. That's the 30 miles,
okay.
and and then you have a 50 miler, then a 100 miler, and there are things in between.
Yeah, no thank you on all of those. Just
Yeah,
I think I'm just gonna go with the 30 miles.
right.
Yeah, for
And
now.
and people are surprised because one of the things that I kind of tell people is that you know I'm look forward more to doing an ultra marathon than doing a regular marathon.
Really?
I've done plenty of half marathons, have no problem with it. I've just never had a desire to do a regular marathon.
Why is that?
For some reason, I just honestly I think I would get bored. Because
Okay,
even when I run
okay.
half, I get bored around about mile
Really?
9 or 10. It's like, oh, when will this be over with? I've been running for 2. And it's not that I'm
That's
tired or
funny.
anything. It's not that I'm tired. It's just, this is so boring.
Oh wow.
You know,
That's
but
interesting that you get bored.
yeah,
Okay.
like I said, and that's why I think that running an ultra. That's why I said if I'm going to run a long distance, I would rather just go ahead and do the 50K, the 30 miles, and do an ultra, and just
Okay. But that may
it
be because
sounds
you're
like
used to
anything
doing
could work.
two sports.
Huh? Say it
I'm
again.
sorry. That may be because you're used to doing two sports too. So no,
Yeah.
normally I guess you're breaking it up with your
Right.
run and then your bike. Okay.
All right. So let's kind of talk about um your. It's going to be kind of a two-part question. You know,
Okay.
what is your proudest moment as a runner, and then on the flip side, what is your worst moment or the biggest mistake you've made as a runner?
The proudest is easy because that would be when I crossed the finish line at the Little Rock Marathon last year. Definitely
Okay.
felt very proud of myself for being able to make it.
Okay.
Um, as far as my biggest mistake, um, I'm not sure. I mean, I think I'm because I'm still, like you said, a newbie. I'm still working out the kinks, and I don't know if I would say a mistake as much as um, I really wish I'd done more cross training and more strength training the first time. I mean, when I,
Oh,
when I ran the marathon, that would be the thing that I wish I, concentrated more on. This go around, I'm definitely doing more strength training than I did the first time. But if I had to say I made a mistake, I think it would be on not concentrating on the strength training aspect of training.
okay. Oh, and what's your go-to running shoe? Uh-oh. You're
uh,
laugh. You start with a laugh. Uh-oh.
I am like, I've been kind of all over the place. So I started with Adidas,
Okay.
and then I moved over into Brooks, and then I did like four different shoes with Brooks. I still very much like Brooks, but then I'm an Atlanta Track Club ambassador, so we are sponsored by Adidas. So I've gone back to Adidas. Um, I'm I like both, to be honest. I know most people, and usually I'm very loyal to like one brand, but I actually like both. I will say overall, I think I have found that I kind of like a lighter shoe, but I'm still really experimenting with shoes. I will say that I don't have like some people have like this is my shoe and that's that. I don't have that yet. I'm still trying to experiment to figure out what I like best.
Well, and that's normal. I
Hmm.
went through before I kind of got locked into with Hoka. Because that's the shoe that really got me to keep running. Because
Hmm.
I tried Nike, I tried Adidas, um, On. Um,
Really? Okay.
I've tried multiple shoes, and when I first started running, I just got a lot. It was a lot of pain, shin splint
Okay.
that. But once I got into the Hoka Bondi, that's when I was like, okay, this is it. That kept me running. So, and
Okay.
I hear from a lot of people too that they find that one that what you start hearing the angel start saying like, oh, this is the shoe.
Yes.
It takes a while till you find that shoe.
Yes. And it's hard. And I know this is going to sound so silly, but I want the shoe to work. I want it to be functional, but I want it to also be a nice looking shoe. And I think, and my husband laughs at me because he's like, what difference does it make? It just needs to function. You just need to be able to run. But I can't lie. That's important to me too. I like a nice looking shoe. And then I think that's what's hard. It's like finding the perfect shoe for you and then one that also looks good. So that's the challenge, because sometimes the one that probably you should wear is not the one that looks nice. So
Right, right.
I'm just, trying to, if I can kind of stay somewhere in the middle. I want a shoe that's good and it's functional and it works for me, but also it's a nice looking shoe.
Okay. All right. So I know one of the things you mentioned when we started is that you kind of use running as a way to kind of think things out as a way of
Hmm.
your we kind of go into this. You hear this saying a lot that running is therapy. So
It
how
is.
that helped you with running? Just being able to just kind of go out and run and just talk things out.
It does. I mean, there is a lot of self-talk. I mean, and I think also running can be a confidence booster. Because there is something about, taking on a challenge and say, hey, I'm going to do this and actually seeing it through. Especially when you do like the longer distances, it's the mental fortitude to get through. Because sometimes if you're doing a long distance, there's going to be some point where you're like, I don't think I can take another step. I can't push, I can't move forward anymore. And you make a decision that you're going to keep going. And I think running has helped me realizing I'm stronger than I thought. Um, like I said, just sometimes, being out in the fresh air, the time that I'm out there, I think about things, it's my me time, and that's why I think I'm a solo runner more so because I like to just kind of maybe zone out a little bit.
Right, right.
And just, I'm already a person that's probably very much inside my head, probably too much. And I guess that just kind of helps me get through some of it. It's just work things out, yeah, it's just that time, you can kind of block out the noise, of everything, that may be, you know, the background noise. So you just kind of, it's just you in the road, and that gives you that time to, work through things. I mean, I believe running is definitely therapeutic. I also believe in real therapy as well. I'm big
Yes.
on that. I think people should go see a therapist to talk through their problems. But yeah, for me, running has been very therapeutic. When I couldn't run the beginning of the year for about a month or so, I remember I actually, it made me cry. My son said, "I can't believe you actually cried." I said, "I did," when they told me I couldn't run, because just the thought, it's just been my thing, and I feel like I do kind of need it. Um, yeah, it definitely helps me, kind of get through things.
Yeah, it does. Believe me, not just with me running with me, but also cycling. Just
Yes.
really think things through.
Hmm.
And it helps me look at things, from multiple perspectives.
Right.
You might see something from your perspective only, but if you kind of get out and step out and look at it from somebody else's shoes, it makes you go, "Oh, okay, I can see where this person is coming from. I can see why this person feels this way."
Exactly. Exactly. I mean, you're right. You can analyze it from different angles, So, yeah.
Okay, so if you can take a time machine and go
Hmm.
back and tell your younger self something, what would it be?
Woo, it would be, girl, get out of your head. Stop analyzing, stop over analyzing everything, and just enjoy, be present. I think that's something that I mean, something I'm still working on, but I would definitely tell myself, um, just don't be scared. Get out, try it, Because most of the time when you look back, I know for me anyway, when I've looked back on things, I don't have a lot of things that I regret that I actually did. I mean, of course, I've made mistakes and things I wish I hadn't done the way I did. But if anything, the things that I regret are things that I wish I had had the courage to do, but not things I did wrong. And so that's what I would tell my younger self is, try it, do it. You got a good head on your shoulders, you know, and don't overthink it, because I think that sometimes we overthink it, and I think sometimes overthinking can almost paralyze you.
Yes, yes, definitely. I totally agree with you on that one.
Hmm.
All right. So, what advice would you give to someone, who, is, older, that's, has, responsible, you have work, you have family,
Hmm.
have, when you try to tell them, like, hey, you should try running. And they're like, yeah, yeah, it's too late for me to start. So, what would be your advice to someone like that?
I would say definitely do it, because if you have, lots of responsibilities and you're a caretaker, you have a family that you have to think about, you can't be a good caretaker if you don't take care of yourself first.
Yes.
And so I think that's very important. And as far as being older, as long as you're alive and you can still move physically, it's not too late. Um, I mean, in 2019, I was already in my 40s. So when I started, consistently running, I was already in my 40s. My mom, since I started running, she started running. I mean, and she started running in her 60s. So, I mean, it's never too late. I think that, I think sometimes people get nervous, like, oh, but I mean, you still have time, So if you can, you should.
Yeah. And I think of it too is that there's an intimidation factor.
Hmm.
And I know when I first started running, I made the assumption that it was a bunch of young people running.
Hmm.
And like, oh, I'm the last person to finish. I'm gonna be this. But once I kind of got beyond all that and stuff, that's when I really started enjoying running. When I started seeing other
Exactly.
older people and some people that were older than me running, and they're just
Exactly.
as they could be, and they're enjoying it. Even me as a duathlete, there's a gentleman that is in his, I think he's in his late 70s, early 80s. I'm trying to remember his age group now, but he comes out. He's there every year at the races, and
Mm-hmm.
he's not the fastest. He comes in there, at the very end. I was like, but he's enjoying himself.
Exactly.
He's
I
there
think,
smiling. His
yeah.
wife is there. You know,
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think running is great self-care. I mean, it may sound, but I think it's great self-care. So, and I think a lot of people get caught up in, like you said, like, they don't want to be the last person, but I mean, your pace is your pace, and,
right,
and there's no shame in walking either. I mean, the thing is, you
right,
cross the finish line, it doesn't matter. You get a medal whether you walked or you ran. So
exactly,
it doesn't
exactly,
matter,
right,
what you did to get across the finish line. Just get across the finish line.
exactly. All right. What is a non-running fact about you that most people don't know?
Hmm. Um, I love the movies. I That's something I've always loved. I mean, I remember as a kid, both of my parents liked the movies. My husband loves the movies. We could watch movies all day, like going to the movies. And that's something I really enjoy when is yeah, movies. It's kind of a way that I relax. It's also another way you kind of escape into someone else's storyline and you
Right.
know, um, but I would say, yeah, movies is
Favorite
something that I
movie?
enjoy.
Putting you on the spot.
That,
Favorite movie?
you know what? That is hard. I don't know because there are so many great movies. I love action films. I would say right this minute, the most recent movie I just saw was Woman King with Viola Davis.
Oh
I
yes.
really enjoyed that movie. So, I mean, at this moment, I would maybe say that movie, but I don't know. It's funny that I love movies so much, but I don't really have a favorite movie because, it changes constantly and it's so hard to narrow it down to just one. So,
Right. Right.
yeah.
All right. So, what's next for Raina Duckworth? What are you preparing for? Uh, what do you got coming down the pipe?
I have a few races coming up, but the biggest one right now would be in December. I will do my second marathon. It's the St. Jude's Memphis Marathon. So that's
Okay.
what I'm training for currently. So, and I'm hoping that next year, I'm gonna put myself in the lottery for the Chicago Marathon and maybe
Okay.
the New York City Marathon. But I'm hoping to get into one of those for next year.
Okay. Okay. All right. You got any last words you want to share with the listeners?
I would just say, again, it's never too late. And don't be afraid to try it. Just get out there and just do something good for yourself. It's just important that you take care of yourself. And I think fitness, my mom always says, if you have your health, you have everything. And that is, it's a
Absolutely.
gift to be able to move your body. So,
Yes. Yes. That is good advice. If you have your health, then that's what else do you have? That
yeah,
trumps everything.
yes, you know, because it doesn't, I mean, if you have $1 zillion, but you don't have your health, it's just, so I think a lot of times we don't think about the importance of actually, having your health. It's very important. So,
Yes, that is great advice. Well,
mhm.
Raina, thank you for being a guest on the show. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on the show. I've enjoyed this.
All right. Well, you have a wonderful day.
All right, you too.
All right. Bye bye.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the No Gimmicks, Just Sweat podcast. We really appreciate everyone who tunes in each week. If you enjoyed today's show, please support us by subscribing, rating, and reviewing the show wherever you listen to podcasts. And remember to tell your friends about the No Gimmicks, Just Sweat podcast so we can continue to have awesome conversations with everyday athletes just like you. Until next time, have an amazing week.